This is your 2 o'clock presentation, 5 tips to grow your photo booth business. I'm Sharone Reid, Folks and Fabulous Events. So we got these loading things, okay? It's cool. So I'll keep talking while I'm saying. So again, my name is Sharone Reid. I'm with Focus and Fabulous Events. I'm located in Richmond, Virginia, but my territory is the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. So I cover Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., some parts of Maryland. I try not to go too far up like Baltimore, because there's so many great boothers up there. I'd rather just pass it on. I'll do Tidewater area like Hampton, Virginia Beach. Don't get a lot of calls for them. I don't market that much that way, but Richmond, Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia are my hot spots. Takes a little while to load. I provide open air DSLR photo booths. We also have a mirror photo booth. We have iPad-based photo booths, and then we also have roamers. So that's kind of what we do. My client base is about 40% social, 60% corporate. And I have been in business since 2013, so roughly a little over 6 years. And my first time at Photo Booth Expo was when they opened it. And then after that, I started speaking. My first speaking at Photo Booth Expo was 2017. The following year, I was a brand ambassador for Pick Social. And then the last 2 years, well, last year and this year, I'm speaking here for Strong Women, which is very fulfilling. And I'm super excited to be here with you guys because I love to share about my photo booth business. And who better to do it with than Strong Women like you. So my speaking points, we're talking about the 5 ways that I use to grow my business. It's all about my presentation, my knowledge that I bring from the industry to my clients. Also, social media is huge for me. When I first started, Instagram was like my go-to. It hadn't been bought over by Facebook. It was very organic. I would say 90% of my calls were like, I saw you on Instagram. Not so much now, but it's still very, very important to my business. Also networking, and then my processes. So I know Kathy just touched on like her processes, workflows, and that's what's gonna help you grow. And these are all things that if you do it yourself, don't take a lot of money out of your budget. All right. So first, when you start, I don't know where we are. How many people are their first year in photo boothing? 2 to 3, and then 4 and up. Okay. I would say I had no idea I'd be doing what I'm doing now 6 years ago. I just like, oh, because how many people, you tell people you're in the photo booth business, what's the response?
Oh,
you do weddings? You do weddings?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I guess I'll be doing weddings?
Yeah.
I hate weddings. I try not to do weddings. And so as I started coming to this expo, as I started talking to more people in the business, I started to decide, how do I want to grow? Do I just want to stay local? Do I want to do travel and travel all around the country? Do I want multiple booths? That means I have to have a staff. Like, how do I want to grow my business? And so I think that's the first thing you should do, is kind of write out from today till next year. Make it small. How do I want to grow my business? What's something that I want to increase, or something I want to structure about my business in the next 12 months? All right. From the bottom. So again, I started in 2013. My first booth was a Limelight iClick photo booth. That was one of the happiest days. My booth
Still got one. Yeah. I got 2 actually.
It's me, just had pulled it out and was standing next to it like, oh, I gotta get a picture. And then, just to see the types of events, like, aren't you amazed the amount of people that call you and the types of events that you get to go to? My staff always know, I've been exposed to so many things by doing the photo booth with you. Like, I would have never gone here, or I would have never done this, or I would never meet this, Over there on the right, that's me at John Wall's house. He plays for the Wizards. So he's one of my clients, and he'll like, come to my house, we're doing an event. you know, and so it would have never expected to be doing events. This one I'm in, I don't know how many of you are like reality freaks. Like I love reality TV shows. Does anybody watch Summer House?
Yeah.
On Bravo? So I don't even know how they got to the party. I was doing a grand opening for a apartment building, and my client is friends with them, and they just happened to pop up in town. And so I was like, oh, we have to get in the photo booth and take some pictures. And then they reposted. So you never know like where your pictures are gonna go, just randomly, how you get introduced to people. Because like with John Wall, I was doing a wedding, and a girl that works for his foundation was in the wedding party. And so now he's my client. So you just never know like where your business is gonna take you, but you can also put yourself in that position. So that's kind of a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about is once you decide on paper where you want to go, what type of events you want to do, now you need to position yourself to get them. Okay? All right, so just basically introducing yourself as many times as you can. Tell somebody that you own a photo booth business. Do it. At the gas station, at church. Just talk to people, be very, you know, don't be salesy, like, you know, just kind of be natural with it and just talk about your business and also talk to people about your business like it's a business. Oh, that's what you do on the side? Oh, what do you do for your real job? That's what somebody told me. My real job? Like, this is my real job, you know, so make sure that they understand that this is a real business and that, you know, when they work with you, that they're getting top-notch service because you're operating in such a way. Sorry. Another thing too. So the reason I picked this topic, okay, so I started my business and I was working full-time in the hospitality industry. And I'm sure other industries are very up and down, and your employment security is kind of wishy-washy. For me, it's been that way since 2009. Any job that I've picked up since 2009 until I started my photo booth, either there was a layoff, the business closed, and I was like, is this a sign? Like I'm supposed to do my own thing? And so I started the photo booth in 2013. By 2014, I was full-time. And so I don't have, you know, another job or any other income. I do this by myself that's going to feed into, oh, I have a marketing budget and, you know, my paycheck can pay for that and my photo booth will pay for this. A lot of people don't even pay themselves with their photo booth. That just goes somewhere else. It's their fun money. Anyway, this is their fun money. So with a small amount of capital that you can put into your marketing, you have to do a lot of the legwork yourself. And there's really creative ways to get helped to help you grow your business. And so I developed these 5 tips. All right. Presentation, how you present yourself. Like I said, you always want to be professional and stay on brand. So, you know, make sure you always have a business card with you or some kind of digital way to stay in touch. For me, I'll give them a business card, but I love to connect with people on social media because I know that's my next step. So, oh, do you have an Instagram? Let me show you what we did last week. This was such a great event. And try to get them onto your social media so that they're going to see your pictures and your events because you want to stay in front of, you know, your next client. Then I have a booth that's wrapped for my business. Any kind of email, I always send it out with my logo. Just always that brand recognition. When you see that, when people see your card or when they see a post on your social media, like what do they think of? And so you want to be very strategic about that. And then of course, you know, do what works for you. Like a lot of people will see it and they automatically know it's a female-owned business because of the colors I use, you know. What else? I think they're very attractive colors, you know, so maybe do some research on what are attractive colors. My girlfriend was just rebranding her photo booth business and they told her, green and gold are very attractive. People are attracted to those colors. So I'm quite sure if we Google what colors people are attracted to, maybe if you're rebranding or getting a logo, you haven't done your logo yet, use those colors. And then just be consistent. When you send out your email, make sure it always comes from the same email. Just try to stay consistent and professional at all times with your clients. And then knowledge. How do most of you get your, your interest in your photo booths? Are people emailing you? Are they calling you, emailing? I like email. Who likes to get on the phone with a client? Who likes to get the phone
I do,
call?
but they mostly email.
University, yeah. See, I just think you give so much through the email, right? I give them links and things like that.
Well,
but
they don't want to commit. They just want to feel it out before
Yes.
they talk to you. Then they feel like they're going to get.
That's true. That's true. I love to get on the phone. I think when I'm on the phone
Like,
and they hear my personality and they hear I know what I'm talking about, then they feel more comfortable to use me. You know, so if they call me and it's a baby shower, I'll reference another baby shower we did, or I ask them questions that maybe even their planner hasn't asked them yet. You know, what's your theme? What's your colors? You know, when people come in, what are they going to see? You know, like, have you thought about where you want to put the photo booth? And then I give them reasons why or why not to do that. So once they know you know what you're talking about, they feel more at ease. And then that price doesn't matter, right? Because a lot of times they'll call and they'll say, hey, how much for the photo booth? I'm having an event on Saturday for 3 hours. Hold up. What type of event? Where's it at? Trying to get, you know, so what colors are you using? Like, really try to know about the event and give them your expertise before you tell them how much. Because by that time it doesn't matter. They already know they want to work with you. Now they're just trying to figure out who can I borrow some extra points from to get you there. I talked to one lady one time and we talked so long that I never asked her the date, and then when I found out the date, I couldn't do it. So I was like, okay, so maybe what, I'll give her a really, really high price, and she won't book me. So I was like, it was for 3 hours, it was July, it was hot, and I was kind of glad it was an outdoor event. And I knew I'd have to hire somebody else to do it, so I quoted her $1,500. And she was like, oh, that's outside of our budget. You know, I said, I understand, I really do. And so we hung up, and not even an hour later, she called me and she said, you know what, I don't care.
Wow.
I talked to you and I know I really want, and then I felt really bad because I wasn't gonna be there, right? And she booked. So she booked for $1,500 for 3 hours. You never know what people are willing to do once they've made that connection with. I would have paid $1,500 for 3 hours, but she did, so okay. It was a corporate, so I didn't feel too. Well, she would spend her money, you know. I probably would be like, no, I'm not going to be there, you know. There's some other companies, that type of situation, but you know. So be the expert. Get as many details as possible on the front end, and kind of work that into your response. So after you have that initial call or that initial email, you send them a quote. What's your follow-up? What's your follow-up? Anybody make a follow-up call or email? How much time in between?
No more than 3 days.
No, me too. No more than 3 days. I really, depending on how bad I need the business, I'm like, if I send it in the morning, that afternoon, I'm just checking in, making sure you got everything so that you can, you know, is there anything I needed to add, that type of thing. But no more than 3 days, and then reference the details. So, oh, you know, I was just talking to Jan over at Camelot, and you know, she's so excited to work with you. We've worked together before. Like, drop names if you have them from the venue. You know, oh, you know, we did an event in the Grand Ballroom over there, and you know, there's only power on the right side. So you want to make sure that when you're talking to your planner that you have us on the right side. You know what I mean? Like, so now they're like, oh yeah, they're really invested. We need her. Because the other phone call, some guy, right? Because we're women. They're not paying that much attention to the details. Oh, 3 hours on Saturday, that's $900. Do you want to book us? Yeah, they didn't get invested with their clients. So when you have the chance to be invested, get invested with your clients. And then also, which is leading me, my information sheet has been a very useful tool that I send out to, most times it's my corporate people, like my baby showers, weddings, they don't really care about that information sheet. The email with the quote is fine. But I created this information sheet, again, staying on brand, that I will send out to people that are not quite ready. We've had the conversation, they know I have a photo booth business, they want to work with me at some time. This is just a way that they can have it somewhere, maybe like event planners or salespeople at a hotel. This would be something that I would send to them because they're getting calls all the time, and if they like you enough, they'll share this information.
Can you tell us what's on there?
Yeah, so it has all the different types of booths that I have.
Okay.
It has just these little pictures that like descriptions of how our booths have been useful at different types of events. So one was a family day. We did a green screen and we had everybody dress up in front of, it was for the, that was a real exciting event. It was at the Forensic Science in DC, so like the national one. And so they had the families of the people, of the employees, and then they gave them tours and things like that. So we had them dress up like they were working in the lab. And then we had another green screen. They had an option that they could either be in the lab or on a crime scene, and they gave us all the props. So just talk about.
And what are those icons down there?
Those are some corporate brands that we've worked with. So a lot of people want to know if you've done corporate. I don't know if you've gotten that call, but have you done a corporate event before? Who have you worked with?
And what about the top box? Right under the word experience. Right under the word experience.
You know,
Okay.
oh, so features that your photo booth will have, like data collection, and that a lot of people just want that. Let's think somebody was just talking to that. Because like some people really don't care that you have a photo booth; they just want that data, and they'll call you specifically for that. Also, I have on there on-site printing. People are still amazed. Mm-hmm. I get it now. What? And this. Are you shaking?
I'm gonna shake it.
No, it's dry.
It's not
Put it in your
polarized.
purse. It's not going to mess up. So the on-site, you print on-site, and the social media sharing is still a big thing. Like I've been doing social media sharing from the get-go. I'm like, who doesn't share through social media? So those things to me stick out because that's what are wowed by my customers and or highly requested. So that's what that is. And then also I make sure I have my information, again, my name, my email, my website, my phone number. Please call me. And so I can send it digitally or I can go over there and, stop. I was in the neighborhood. Just wanted to stop by and give you my information. How often do people ask you about photo booths? Do you know a vendor? And a lot of times they are very talking and chatty. We used to, they put out of business or we haven't heard from them. Or a lot of times, especially in hotels, the sales department, the turnover is so great. It's always somebody new. So even if you went to the hotel last year, you want to go back this year because they have a brand new sales director. And you don't know who they know, but now they know you. And so they'll call you. And I just did that last week. One of my friends is a assistant sales director at the Hilton in Richmond, and he was like, come over, have lunch with me. I was like, okay. Then he started introducing me to people, and I walked out of there with a gig. They were like, you know what? We're having this big meeting with all the associations in Richmond. Associations mean conferences, right? And we would love to have you. Like, how much for the photo booth? And so we booked. So I was like, I'm gonna give you a great deal because I'm building a relationship, and you're gonna put me in front of all the associations in Richmond. I mean, in the state of Virginia. Yeah, whatever you want me to do, I'm gonna be there. So that was just me happening to stop by. So just happen to stop by if you're out and about. So that's my information sheet. Getting social. Make sure that you are on not as many. I like Instagram. I think I do very well on Instagram, but I also have Twitter. I also have a Facebook page. I also have Pinterest. I have presence everywhere, but I focus on Instagram just because I've seen more return there. Other people have seen more return on Facebook. It just depends on you. It depends on your market. It depends on what you're posting. I think I think Pinterest is really good. Like if you go after weddings. There's a lot of brides for you. So just where your clients go. I go after Instagram because I want to work with marketing directors. I want to work with PR firms. I want to work with event planners, and that's where they find me. So,
how did you get your followers? Because you could do all the Instagram posting you want if nobody's looking at it then. So how did you get that going?
I started following, so someone gave me this formula a long time ago. They were like, follow. So I find people that I want to be my clients, and I like, follow. So now I have their attention because now their heart has, who the heck is she on? Or who is she? And then they go back and then they end up following me.
Oh, okay.
So that works. I think it's, or like that's old post. I'm gonna have way more than that now. But I think most of the people that follow me, it's not junk. It's not people that would not buy from me eventually, but it's a lot of photos of people following me.
You have thousands?
Huh?
Thousands of followers? Is that what I'm
Yeah, and that's old. I think that's probably, I don't know what I am at now. But I think they're event planners. I think they are my old customers. I think they are venues, promoters. A lot of promoters follow me.
How often do you post?
Okay, I used to do better. I post 3 times a day, and then if I'm at an event, I post a lot. And then I went to, Facebook had I don't know if in your city, they had like a business, it was almost like a conference. It was 3 days, and they had, what is it called? It was all last year, but they hit up all these different cities, and they had businesses come out and they taught you how to market your business on Facebook and Instagram. And their thing was stories. They was like, people will watch a video before they look at your post now. So now I'm into my Insta stories. So I'm doing a lot of Insta stories.
Is there a way, like, or what you post? Do you always post like your setups or setup then of the people or your templates?
I did another workshop, and the guy said, try to stay away from setups. So back then I was doing a lot of my setups that I thought people cared. They don't. They care about more like with the girls. What kind of props you have? Did they have fun? So I try to post people in my booth now. I try to post pictures of my props, because people always ask me, what kind of props are you going to bring? You know, I try to post people using my products rather than the way it looks. If that makes sense. And then I reuse those links from Instagram when I send my email quote. So at the bottom I was like, here's some examples. And I link the pictures from my Instagram. So then that's how I'm starting to get more followers too, because now they're looking at my Instagram from my email and then they follow me back. Yeah. But I love the Insta stories, the Instagram stories, and then they go to your Facebook business page too, if you have them linked together.
How often do you personally talk to your followers on your Insta story or on your social media, and what do you say?
So I'm getting better. I thought it was okay just to have likes. It's not, and it doesn't really matter how many likes, because a lot of people just like your stuff. But what do you do? So my suggestion, and what I've been doing better at doing, is when people like, I go back and see who they are, and I do that like, follow, if I want to follow them, or they look like potential clients, and then I respond to their post. So people say, oh, this is gorgeous, thank you, and I like your post too. Just starting, like recognizing that they even stopped and left me a message, recognizing that they even liked my picture, and find out who they are. So that's kind of what I do with that. And it's funny that you bring that up, because I said I'm doing better. I've gotten so much busier in the last 8 months that I struggle with my Instagram. So I went to my local college, which is VCU, and they had a career day. And I ended up finding a few people that wanted to be attendants. And one of my attendants is actually a PR major. And she has worked for huge companies doing social media management, SEO work. And so she's going to take over my Instagram.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she was like, oh no, I went through it. And, like, she had a whole plan of what she's about to do for me. So that happened like maybe a couple of weeks ago. So I'm super excited for that. And hopefully next year I'll be back to share that with you too. But yeah, if you can find like a student that's really into social media, like I have no idea. I would love to learn TikTok, but I don't have time. And it's, so it's an internship. So if I can get them on internship, that's great. So I had 2 interns from another college last year, but you gotta tell them what you want. Like, give them some structure, because it's better to have some free labor, and really good free labor, than have to pay some of these companies. So if you can look up handshake.com in your city or in your state, it should tell you what schools are associated with Handshake, and you can post internships, full-time jobs, part-time jobs, give a description, and then you can monitor which students look at it, and you can tell it, I want PR majors, I want only juniors or grad students. And you can put in like they have to have a car or, you know, different things. So that has been really good. And then you have to, it's almost a vetting process. So they vet you, and then the students kind of look at it after you've been approved by the university to be on Handshake. And then from there, one of the school's career services people reached out to me. She said, I see you're on Handshake. You want to come and do an information table at the school? And I was like, great, did that. And then she's like, well, we're having a career fair. You want to come to that? I was like, yeah. So I did that. And so I do events there now. I picked up some more local colleges. Colleges are great for business. But yeah, so interaction, you're trying to build organic followers. And if you could find somebody to help you do your social media, especially on platforms that you're not used to or you don't have a lot of experience with, that's always a good idea.
Do you ever tie your Instagram to your Facebook, so whatever you're posting
Yes.
on IG goes straight to your
Yep.
Facebook?
So my Instagram is tied to Facebook and to Twitter. And I think you
Any of
can.
them have different content?
Only thing I don't like is when you post from Instagram to Twitter, it's the link and people usually don't. So I will sometimes backtrack and repost something different on my Twitter. And I see I get more interaction when I do it straight to Twitter rather than if it's a post from Instagram to Twitter. But I do say with the stories, it looks exactly the same. So I get the same reaction for the stories to Facebook. Yeah. Networking. How many people like to network?
That's why we're all here.
How do you network? In person? Are you part of associations? Like how do you network? Associations, Chamber of Commerce.
I like to just
Anywhere.
meet people randomly outside of that stuff. Just
That too.
like random people that you just meet.
Do y'all do your local wedding?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, exactly.
My first, I stepped away. Yeah, my first 2 years, I was like, okay, it's a cult. No, it's not. It's very cliquish. It's cliquish. And so even though you've paid your money and you've joined, they still, we have these vendors.
Yeah.
They just want your money. So I joined associations that have nothing to do with the industry, so like business associations, and then they're like, what? They're so amazed. You do what? That sounds interesting. Can I have your card? And I've gotten business from those types of situations more so than meeting your local florist or your DJ. And because again, it's a clique. They're going to continue, and they should. They should continue to support their friends. But if they've never heard of a photo booth and what you've done, and you go to the network with Jerome, and you're like, oh, what is this? And they want it at their next event. They want it at their corporate event. They want it at their kickoff for, something, whatever. So Small Business Administration has been really good. They have a lot of events locally, and I go to those and I meet other business owners there. So that's pretty good. Workshops, and locally we have Facebook groups, a local Facebook group of boss babes, and it's like 500 women business owners. And I've gotten a lot of business from there because they're looking for a photo. Does anybody know photo booths locally or a photographer locally? And I just communicate that way. So I even started a network, call it Best of Richmond, and nobody in there is, no, that's a lie. There's some DJs in there. So nobody's in the industry, but I try to ask people that are not in the industry to join it so we can, share what we do. Caterers are good people to network because they do what you do. They go to events and they know people. Like I said, be strategic. So again, you're looking at that growth plan and where do you want to be next year? And those are the people you want to align yourself with or network with. And I said, create diversity in your networking, not just your industry. Go to some of these things like real estate people, because they meet so many different types of people. And they always, I don't know if you've ever been to a networking event, there's always a real estate person. So they go to everything. I was like, you guys have lots of time. But they know a lot of people. So I like to network with real estate agents because they know so many people. Pay it forward and leverage your relationships. So when I joined my business league, I'll do a lot of events for them because it's a way for me, one, to showcase something that I have that maybe hasn't been out yet. So when I first got my roamer, that thing, you just gotta show it. People don't, oh, I have a photo of it. We go around the whole, no visual, they can't see it at all. But you show up at the networking event, Sharone, that thing was amazing, and I could do a GIF. Okay, so I bring that, and it doesn't take me anything, doesn't cost me anything, because I was going to the event anyway, pull it out of a bag and, okay. Or I'll bring my iPad booth and put it in the corner, and I continue to network, and people have fun with it. So kind of leverage your work. Also, with your event planners, maybe make some kind of deal with them, you know, hey, I'll do one free event if you can promise me 5 events a year, you know. Trying to think. Bartering. Somebody talked about bartering. My son graduated from high school at 18. He had the most fabulous graduation party that would have cost people like $5,000 to $10,000. No. I was like, I had the DJ, we had karaoke, we had the caterer. I bartered my butt off for that event. So, but I was in enough to play, and I got business from doing it at a free event. You just never know. Set aside dedicated time each week to do networking. I struggle. If I have to do events from Thursday to Sunday, on Tuesday, I'm going to be in my bed. I do not want to go to the lunch, to the after work happy hour. I just don't. But you have to make time. Somebody always brings a meetup. Is anybody else part of meetup.com? And they said that's really good to find different events. I met she's called the Insurance Lady. She's local to me. And she says she goes to 3 networking events a week.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, we have to do like 5 30 minutes.
I can't do it.
Oh, God,
I don't have that kind of energy.
So many are breakfast things too. You're like, they're at 7 in the morning.
You can't do that.
Not for me.
Not for me. So yeah, you gotta find what works for you. But I do push myself to get out there. But that might work for somebody.
Right. I mean, there are plenty. They do it before their job.
For their jobs.
So they, yeah.
So I do encourage you to network. Set aside time. Maybe in the beginning it's once a month. You know. And some of your Chamber of Commerce, they always have a calendar, so go through the calendar. And if you don't put it on your calendar, you're more than likely not to go. Like, oh, when you put interested on Facebook, I might as well say no. So,
Do you mind giving examples of how you barter with people in different fields? Like how, I don't know, something totally different from you, like what you would barter for with your photo booth?
So do you get calls for sponsored photo booths?
Yes.
Oh, you will.
We just haven't got to your number yet. You will.
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
They're working their way down. I would say that would be an option, like, because they think they're doing you a favor. So I have like questions that would make it worth my while. So I want to know who's going to be there. I want to know how many people are going to be at the event. How many times have they had this event? If it's their first time and they sound like they really don't know what they're talking about, I probably won't do it. Sometimes it's a venue that I've never been in that will make the difference. Like, I don't care if I do it for $2. I've never been at this venue and I want to get in. I want pictures of my booth in that venue. So it just depends. I think that would be the only way that I've kind of done it, and it's not in the network.
But didn't you, when you did your son's party, didn't you just ask them, like, said,
Well, it started with somebody asking me. The photographer said her daughter was turning 16 or something. She was like, if you do photos at her party, I'll do your son's dinner. I was like, oh, wait a minute. This might turn into something. So I started calling the DJ, I called the caterer. I was like, hey, I'll do this and you do this. And yeah. The limousine for his prom, all of it. It was done. She told me that processing. If you were here, the last one Kathy talked about having a CRM. If you're just starting out, give yourself a little bit of time, but you will soon say, how do I get all of this in one spot? I use 17 hats. It's very popular, but you will see so many tomorrow next door. I don't know any other one, but once you dedicate yourself to one of them, you don't want to do that again.
Oh, good Lord.
So if you haven't started a serum, just kind of go through everybody and just find out if they have exactly what you want, because once you get going, you don't want to change. So I'm not leaving. Oh, I did good. Hey!
I remember you saying either last year, or it could have been at the beginning of Photo Booth Expo, you were a single person, like you like to do your events.
Yeah.
Did you hire people? Have you
Yes.
hired people?
So
Okay.
this
Was it since last year?
Yes.
I think it was last year.
It
You're like, I'm
was.
going to all my
This
events.
conference, the Strong Women Conference, changed my business.
Oh,
The people that I met here, your guys' encouragement to let go and release and let God. I have 5 employees, and they are killing it. The girl from this college, every time she goes out, I get an email, a phone call, something, a written letter in the mail, how marvelous she is. Like I can just say here, and don't worry. Not everybody, but her, yes. So yeah, I have hired and I started training, and because I know I don't want to do things anymore. Like I don't want to ever do a wedding.
So you're
Somebody else.
probably not ring roaming. Are you ring roaming?
I'll do it if I have to, but I have an attendant that loves to do it.
Okay.
So she's like, just give me all of those. Oh, okay. And then I have attendants that don't want to do it.
Did you initially though, because part of my fear of all that is I feel like I'll be so stressed out worrying
Yeah.
how it's going, I'll get a call, I'll be at an event, they'll call me.
I still am. I still
Okay.
am. But
Do you
my
think that's
business has
normal?
grown that I have no choice.
Okay.
So we do, on average, a slow week is 3 or 4. A good week is like 5 to 10 a week.
Wow.
So
I
how has that
can't-
changed from last year? How many from last year when you were single, doing it yourself, to now that you've got 5 employees? How much have you grown your business?
A lot. I mean, I'm still doing my numbers. Still doing my numbers from 19.
Right.
But I added 2 more booths.
Okay.
I did get that. The devil. I bought that mirror last year.
And
It's a beast.
I love it. People love it. It's so pretty.
love
Like,
it.
oh my goodness. But and the roamer was new this year. Because I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not walking around with a photo booth. Love it. So I added that, and then Leslie. Was anyone here for Leslie Brock last year?
I love Leslie.
Changed my life.
That girl's
I
amazing.
took her notes, and I am doing exactly what she told me to do, and I'm doing exactly what I wanted.
In what subject? did you talk?
So I do trade shows and exhibits for companies. I have a national account with the government, and I travel all around the country doing a photo booth.
Wow.
Yeah, and they just approved my 2020 invoice, which is my biggest invoice I've ever written. Yeah. So
You go, girl.
their contract is a little lower than half of what I've made the last 4 years. So, yeah, but it was Leslie. She was like, do this, do this, do this. So please take lots of notes and listen. I don't know if she's speaking. I hope she is. She's not.
One of her kids are homesick today.
But I will share if that is something that you're into. What she told us? Destination management companies.
DMCs.
Yeah,
Yep.
changed my life. Yeah.
Meeting planners, DMCs.
DMC.
Yeah.
I actually joined. I don't know if you remember Helms Briscoe. I joined Helms Briscoe, so my job with them is to book hotel rooms for groups, and so I meet a lot of meeting planners through there, and they're like, she does this too, you know. So I've been getting a lot more business from them on the photo booth side, from meeting planners, and like I said, sales departments at hotels, and she said bye. Thank you.